If I asked you right now to define the word happiness, what would you say? Maybe some might say it's going on vacation or being in love. Others might say it's having money, fame, or success. But famous Greek philosopher Aristotle had a different idea. He believed most people are chasing happiness the wrong way. So in today's video, we're going to look at Aristotle's secret definition of happiness and see how we can apply it to our own lives. Happiness is a complex emotion that philosophers have been trying to define for thousands of years. And when it comes to happiness, Aristotle is one of the OG happiness gurus. In his book Nicomachean Ethics, he defines happiness as the ultimate goal or end of human life. But contrary to what you might think, Aristotle didn't believe that happiness was about pleasure. Instead, he believed it was about living a life of meaning and purpose. He even coined a special word for this type of happiness. He called it Eudaimonia, which translates into living well or flourishing. So according to Aristotle, true happiness is not just feeling good all the time, but rather living a virtuous and fulfilling life. Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. What exactly does it mean to live a virtuous life? Well, according to Aristotle, it means living in accordance with the golden mean. Golden mean is like the sweet spot between two extremes. For example, if we take a look at courage, on one side, we have cowardice, and on the other side, we have recklessness. The golden mean, or the happy medium, is where courage lies. Now, when it comes to eating, some people eat too little and become skinny or even starve themselves. Others eat too much and become obese. But the person who eats just enough to satisfy their needs and enjoy food without excess is living the golden mean when it comes to eating. Same goes for happiness. Too little happiness or pleasure leads to misery. Too much, and we can numb ourselves and detach from reality. But the key to Aristotle's happiness is finding that sweet spot in between. It's not about constantly chasing pleasure or running away from pain. It's about finding balance and moderation in everything we do. But why is this important? Why should we care about Aristotle's ideas on happiness? Well, because understanding the difference between these two types of happiness can change our lives in big ways. Let's start by talking about the kind of happiness that most people chase after. This is the kind that comes from pleasure, from indulging in things that make us feel good in the moment. Think about it. When you scroll through social media, you're probably doing it because you want to feel good. You want to feel connected, entertained, or informed. When you watch TV, you're probably doing it because you want to escape from your problems and feel happy. Same with junk food. We all know that it doesn't really satisfy us in the long run, but in the moment, it feels good. And then there's shopping. There's nothing quite like the feeling of buying something new and exciting, whether it's clothes, shoes, or the latest gadget. It feels like you're treating yourself, and it makes you feel good. But here's the thing. This type of happiness is not only fleeting, it's actually harmful to our overall well-being. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter that plays a big role in this, actually tricks us into thinking we're happy when in reality, we're just temporarily distracted from our problems. So while pleasure might feel good in a moment, it ends up leaving us empty and wanting more. But that's not the kind of happiness that Aristotle was talking about. So what was Aristotle getting at when he said that happiness is a long-term process? Well, what he meant is that true happiness is not about avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. Rather, it's about living a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. It's about growing as a person, learning new things, and making a positive impact on the world around us. Imagine, for example, that you love playing basketball. The happiness that comes from playing basketball is not the same as the happiness that comes from eating a piece of cake. One is a short-lived burst of pleasure, while the other is a long-lasting sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. The same is true for everything else in life. The happiness that comes from helping others, from creating something beautiful, or from simply appreciating the world around us is much more profound and lasting than the happiness that comes from instant gratification. This is the kind of happiness that Aristotle was referring to when he said that true happiness is a long-term process. It's also important to note that this kind of happiness is not a destination. It is not something that we reach once we achieve a certain level of success or once we have everything we ever wanted. Rather, it's a journey. It's a way of living that requires constant effort and attention. But the good news is that unlike the short-lived pleasures of this world, this kind of happiness is actually sustainable. We can hold on to it and build upon it over time. And the best part is that it's within our control. We have the power to create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling, even in the midst of challenges and setbacks. Sure, it takes work, but the rewards are immeasurable. So if you're feeling unfulfilled or unhappy with your current situation, don't just try to escape it with temporary pleasures. Instead, focus on building a life that you can be happy with in the long run. Next, Aristotle believed that pleasure fades, but meaning lasts. Think about those times when you did something that brought you immense joy. Maybe spending time with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature. In those moments, time seemed to stand still, and all you could think about was how happy you were. But then, as quickly as it began, the experience came to an end, and those happy feelings faded away. You went back to your routine. You started working again, and those joyful memories became just another chapter in the story of your life. But here's the thing. Those memories didn't really fade away. They became part of you. They shaped who you are, and they continue to influence the decisions you make every day. For example, maybe you went on a trip to Paris with your partner, and it was the most magical experience of your life. Even if the trip only lasted for a week, the memories and emotions associated with it will stay with you forever. Those memories will shape your view of relationships. They'll make you more likely to trust and love your partner. They'll also make you more open to new experiences and adventures. The same is true for everything else in life. Every experience, whether it's positive or negative, shapes who we are and influences how we interact with the world around us. That's why Aristotle believed that pleasure fades, but meaning lasts. The meaning we find in our experiences is what truly makes them last. It's what turns a fleeting moment into a lifelong memory. So instead of chasing pleasure, instead of focusing on the short-lived highs of this world, try to find meaning in everything you do. Try to find the deeper lessons and truths that can help you grow as a person. Because when you do that, your experiences will last a lifetime. And who knows, you might even find that the meaning you seek is right around the corner. And finally, 4. Living by virtue brings inner peace. According to Aristotle, living by virtue is the key to inner peace. Now, when it comes to happiness, there's always a balance to strike. On one side, we have indulgence, where we give in to our every desire and impulse. On the other side, we have self-denial, where we suppress our desires and live a life of strict discipline. But Aristotle believed that the key to happiness lies somewhere in the middle. It's in living by virtue, where we find a balance between indulgence and self-denial. Living by virtue means doing what is right and good, not because we feel like it or not because we have to, but because it's the right thing to do. It means being honest, even when it's hard. It means being compassionate, even when it's inconvenient. It means being courageous, even when we're scared. Living by virtue is not easy. It requires strength and resilience. It means resisting the temptation to indulge in every desire and facing our fears head-on. But Aristotle believed that it's worth it because living by virtue brings inner peace. It allows us to live in harmony with ourselves and with others. It gives us a sense of purpose and meaning and helps us live a life that we can be proud of. Happiness is a complex and multifaceted emotion that has been pondered by philosophers for centuries. While Aristotle's ideas may not be the only way to achieve happiness, They offer a valuable perspective that can help us live more fulfilling and meaningful lives. By embracing the concepts of eudaimonia, living in accordance with the golden mean, recognizing the lasting impact of meaning, and living a life of virtue, we can strive to achieve a deeper and more enduring form of happiness that transcends the fleeting pleasures of the moment. It's not about finding happiness. It's about living a life that is worth living. So go out there and make it happen. And hey, before you go, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.